we're going to be doing these 3 tangles. So the materials that you need are a pencil, a pen. The tortillon is a blending stump. It's just a rolled up piece of paper, and you can use this for blending the graphite later on. This is optional, but it makes a nice 3D effect. All you need is a piece of paper. The tile that I'm going to be using is about 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches square. So the first part is to take your pencil and put a little dot in each of the corners. Now I draw my dots a little bit darker, so make sure everyone can see it on my screen. So you just make yours as dark as you need to be able to see what you're doing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to connect those dots. And the next thing I'm going to do is put a couple of diagonal lines with my pencil to divide this space. So I want 3 sections to be able to work with for putting my tangles in. The patterns are called tangles. So I'm just dividing up my space like this. When you divide your space, it's called dropping a string. So the next thing I'm going to do is put away my pencil and grab my pen. So the first one we're going to do is in this middle section. We're going to be doing Hollyball. And the way Hollyball starts is with a line that just goes from one of these pencil lines across to the other side. So any angle you want. Just across to the other side like that. You want to put a little bit of an angle at each end, you can do that. Now with the Hollyball tangle, they always go in pairs. So I'm going to come over on the other side here with another one. Now what we're going to do is do some more that crisscross, but every time you get to where you've drawn before, you stop, you lift, you jump across, and then you keep going. So I'm going to keep layering and putting things on in different angles throughout this section. Then I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of connect these open spaces right along this pencil line here on the outside. I'm going to see some that look like they belong connected to each other, and then I'm just going to connect them. And that's a basic Hollyball pattern. The drawing behind, it gives it kind of a 3-dimensional effect. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. And this one is called jonquil. And we're going to put that over here in one of these triangles. They're about the same. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to start that one by drawing a line that comes out of the corner and goes up toward the center. Then I'm going to do some parallel lines that are not real close together. I want them about as far apart as my pen. I'm going to do a series of lines in an angle on one side of these. The next one over, I'm going to go the other direction. So one goes this way, one goes that way. So then the ones that are next to it go back the other direction again. So then I have this series of up and down like mountains. And I'm going to pick one of these sections in the middle where I got started. I'm going to pick one of those sections and I'm going to fill it in with ink. So I'm going to pick this one. Once I've got one section filled in, I'm going to skip a section. So I'll skip this one and I'll go to this one and fill this one in. Now the next column over, I'm going to switch so that where it's white on this side, it's going to be filled in black on that side. So the last section that we're going to do is this one with the curls in it, and that one's called printemps. And how this one works is you start just kind of out in the middle somewhere and just kind of spiral around a little bit and then go back in on the line. So you can either do it right or left. I tend to feel comfortable going this way. And I just close it back in on itself like that. And I like to give just a little bit of extra ink right in the center. So I'm going to be doing more of these. They can go the same direction. They can go a different way when they bump into each other. And it's going to make these little spaces in between them. And I'm going to fill those little spaces in with ink. And when I get down here to where the Hollyball is, I'm going to stop my spiral at the Hollyball line. I'm just kind of going along the outside and kind of rounding off some of these edges to kind of connect some of those outer ones a little bit more. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to my pencil and add some shading to this, kind of add a three-dimensional effect. And I'm going to start with the Hollyball by putting a little bit of graphite along the outside edge of each of the lines. It's going to go right across the top of what's beneath it, both sides. And this is where the tortillon comes in if you have one, because you can use it to kind of rub the graphite in and smooth it down a little bit. So with jonquil, we're also going to add a little bit of shading. I'm going to go on both sides of that line where the points are aiming out of the center. And I'm going to blend it up a little bit just on that white area on that side and then on this side. So it'll look like that kind of goes down in a little bit. I'm only going to do it on the tips that are pointing out away from the center. And the last bit of shading we're going to work on is over in the printemps. You can see on this one where I've kind of picked one that's kind of on top of everybody else and given some shading around it, and then kind of emphasize that over and under feel. So this one here is going to be kind of on top of everybody else. You can see how that one has really, it kind of is floating above the others. And then I'm just going to go through and look at the ones that look like they might be also floating a little bit. The next thing to do is put your initials on there somewhere. Just turn it around and just look at it and decide where you think your initials might fit nicely and just tuck them in there someplace. So mine are SM. I'm going to put mine right over here.